Those are
a dildo.
Hey, now we're talking. You're my kind of guy, Scott.
What? I went to the wrong screen. Hey, there we are. Arturian! Lord have mercy. Welcome to the Vape Hot Tub. I'm one of the hosts. My name is BlackCat. I've got a very super special guest today. The first person who's ever returned to the Vape Hot Tub.
He actually came back.
He came back. Mr. Vaping Politician. What's up, Mr. Politician? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. Just waiting for that $500 that Charlie promised me. But other than that,
Well,
that Charlie is the money. He is the money behind the hot tub. You know this, right, Charlie?
yeah,
Hey,
I don't have money, but I got checks.
Charlie, how you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Happy Friday.
Doing good, man.
Right on. How was you guys this week? Good?
Yeah, work was long, but it was a good week.
Good, man. Well, it is good to be back. It is Friday, and as Friday, it is time to get into the hot tub. And super excited. We got some pretty cool stuff to talk about today, and a lot of fun we're going to have. So, start us out, Mr. Vaping Politician. Now, I know you're pretty high end, aren't you, sir?
pretty high end.
You're pretty high end. You want to break us down now? You know we had a high end. We had Vaping Swaggins last week.
Oh well, I ain't even close to him. That
You're not
guy's.
close to him.
I'm in the $200 to $400 mod range. He's in the $500 to $3,000 mod range.
$3,000. Jesus Christ! I got a car that's worth less than $3,000.
What's funny is I have bought mods. A couple weeks ago, I bought 2 different setups, and then realized afterwards that the total of those 2 setups was more than my car. So
Really?
That happens to the best of us.
That's Charlie. I will say this, and the hot tubs. Look, the hot tub. We come in here. You can't come in here. I don't care who you are and run the show. Charlie and I run the hot tub. We keep it the temperature we like. And let me tell you something. When Swaggins went through his buffet, Charlie's buffet might have been better. Did you watch it, Eric, last week?
I didn't watch last week's.
You should have. I'll tell you, Charlie's buffet literally was a feast. It was an absolute feast. It's pretty amazing. I had one item, is what I had, which is typically
Did you?
what I have. Yeah, I had one.
But you're not smoking, so hey.
My mod is 18 months old, still running. It's fantastic.
Well, I mean, one of my mods here is not high end, but
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
take us through, Mr. Politician. Eric, tell us what you got going on over there.
All right. So I have the Wicked on the Limelight freehand regulated with twisted sour lemon lime in that. Top side, yeah. See, that's not high end. With the gin on top, and Phoenix Vapor Blue Punch in that. I've got the Palm BF Plus with the Vicious Ant Apex, also Phoenix Vapor Blue Punch in that. Box Mod Mafia Billy Club with the L Addy, and I have Raspberry Lemonade Lemon Law inside of there. And then I've got the Mod Bro DNA 75C with Lakeside Craftsman panels with the basic 1.1 Ti edition on top of that. And I've got the Laffy Taff. Is it Laffy Splash? Some with Laffy Taffy blue raspberry inside of there.
Something Laffy.
Oh, and then
Coffee splash.
my Orion or my Orchid and my Orion.
Excellent. Where do you want to go? You want to go to Charlie? What do you got, brother?
I want Charlie to make me feel insignificant.
Charlie.
You're gonna feel very significant. I'm running light today.
Run light.
I'm rocking the billet box with the vape shell in it that I put too much cotton in and dry in it. I'm running the bulk with the DNA 250 dual 21700 and the black over copper keen with a goon on top and a heavy tip. And that is it because my Cali burn is in the other room that I'm gonna have to go get them.
Wow, you are riding light today, man.
Yeah.
That's kind of strange. I am running the recurve duel. This will be the last day that I have this recurve duel. This is going out to Mr. John Wright tomorrow in the mail, and I'm vaping it on this VGod Pro 150. So I'll be enjoying this for the last day. I'm going to leave a little extra slobber on it. Not going to clean it, John. Hope you're watching. So I'm not cleaning it. It's coming straight to you with my herpes all over it. All right, let's get into the show. Good to see everybody. Thanks, everybody, for showing up today.
He's not kidding, John. You're probably going to get a box of juice all over it from whatever was in his Addy. It's going to smell like BlackCat white face.
Probably will.
And it's probably going to be sticky with who knows what.
I would definitely look at sterilizing it as soon as you get it, John. As soon as you get it, because there could be some remnants of.
Mr. John Wright is he lives on top of a hill, and he had flooding so bad in his area that his whole house became a hot tub. So
yeah, I saw that.
Shout out to John Wright. I'm sorry to hear about that, and I'm glad that you got it going in the right direction.
Absolutely. Prayers go out to you, John. So let's kick it off, Charlie. We're going to start it off with a little funny news. Any funny news this week, Charlie?
Actually, my funny news is kind of sad, and it'll be something we talk about. It's the new vaping study on adolescents.
Vaping study?
Yeah. So
how many kids have died so far, Charlie, in the report, does it say?
Well, either fortunately or if you're big tobacco, unfortunately, no kids have died yet.
I don't believe that.
So they're not quite to the level of throwing bodies in the street and then throwing jewels on top of them, but University of Texas did a study that shows vaping is linked to adolescents' propensity for violent crime and property theft.
Violent crime?
Yeah, that's right.
Propensity to violent? I believe it.
And so apparently, I haven't gotten through the whole study yet, but I can tell you what's coming is that they're going to tell you that kids are breaking into their neighbor's garage to steal stuff and pawn it for jewel pods.
Pawning? Robbing people for vape stuff?
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna step out on a limb here. I'm gonna say I believe it 100%. I think that the violence in today's society only started since about 2011 on, and it's directly related to the rise of vaping.
Right.
Like America, there was no violence in America. Remember,
None.
Back in like the early 2000s. I mean, we had a couple buildings fall, but aside from that, there was like no violence in America ever.
And that small incident in Columbine.
Small incident, yeah. They were just playing around. That was an accident.
Right.
I read about it.
Scott, you're really smart.
I am.
I didn't realize how intelligent you were.
I know.
Wow.
I know. I'll show you my SAT scores after this. They were super.
Solving the world's problems.
Super.
Wow.
I'm telling you, I think there's a direct correlation. In fact, I'm just gonna state right now, I'm running for the governor of Ohio, and I am going to run on that platform that kids are violent because they're inhaling flavored nicotine. That's the reason.
I actually need you to run for governor in Ohio because I need that state because I'm running for president on the same platform.
I would vote against you immediately. You would not. You'd have to make me vice president. You'd have to buy my vote.
So, Charlie, does that mean we're making the official announcement that I'm managing your campaign?
That'd be great.
Sure.
You guys would do good. All right, now, but let's, in all seriousness, obviously we're joking around here, but how in the world, can anybody explain to me, and Eric, you're probably the one to do it, can anybody explain to me how that would come about, and how something as illogical and literally on the border of being just completely ridiculous would come out of a university like the University of Texas, which is a very respected university?
Right. Yeah. I was literally last month, I was in a county full of don't tread on me Republicans. There's one registered Democrat in the whole county. And I was just shocked to see this come out of the University of Texas. But it's where the educational system that profits from Big Pharma is. The New York Times did an article on the study, and the first line is puffing could be the gateway to delinquency.
Gateway to what?
Delinquency.
Delinquency?
Yeah.
Really?
So what I see with those particular kinds of studies is let's take a step back here. I believe something like, I don't think we have studies out on vaping like this yet, but I believe it's 72% of people who smoke cigarettes are impoverished. They're below the poverty line, something like that. So violent crime is naturally going to be higher among people who are impoverished. That's just how it's been. So they're taking a correlation and giving it a causation that isn't real, essentially, is what I see from it, right? So if you take me, for example, right, I grew up very poor, third of my childhood homeless, and I was a shithead. I got in a lot of fights. I committed theft. I was stealing food, but to eat, but still I was committing theft. And I mean, naturally, I also was smoking cigarettes. Was it the nicotine that did that? No. Was there a higher odds that me, as someone impoverished, was a smoker? Yes. So they're taking these two stats that have some sort of correlation and making the causation fit within their narrative. That's what it is.
I actually have something to chime in there. I know it's hard to believe, but I was involved in some delinquency at a young age.
Oh, that's not hard to believe.
I believe it.
And I actually wasn't a cigarette smoker. In fact, it wasn't until after my delinquency, when I was in some punishment for my delinquency, that I started smoking. So I went through a lot of years, and I can't blame my delinquency on nicotine.
Right.
Just because I'm a badass and I was bored as fuck.
You know, I wonder, I hear things like this, and you know, there was a movie that had a profound effect on me. It had an absolute, and there are movies from time to time that will have a profound effect on you, but the movie that I'm referring to is Idiocy. How do you say it?
Idiocracy?
Idiocracy. That movie had a profound effect on me. Because it really, like, it's things that you don't, basically the dumbing down of our society. And I've used the term that we have de-evolved over like the last 20 years. It feels like we've de-evolved, and probably longer than that. That it's like we're just getting stupider and stupider and stupider as a society. That somebody would put something like that out, and people wouldn't have the cognitive skills to just say, that's absurd. That's absolutely absurd that you're going to link inhaling of nicotine to violence.
It's anything to avoid personal responsibility. Like, it can't be my Billy. My Billy wouldn't be throwing rocks at the train because he's a teenage boy and that's what they do. He's an angel. It's got to be those Juul pods they're passing around in the school.
I mean, could it be the... okay, and I don't want to get too into this because it's mind-numbing, but could it be the lack of discipline allowed by parents and by educators that are allowing kids to kind of do whatever the fuck they want to do? And kids are going to do whatever the fuck they want to do if you let them.
Of our society.
I mean, it's like, back when I was in elementary school, I can remember walking down the hall and seeing kids getting paddled in the hall at school. Like 9-year-old kids getting their asses whooped for doing stupid shit. You know what I mean? I can remember thinking, fuck, I don't want to get my ass whooped. Like, that looks like that hurts. And I don't want that happening.
I'm not old enough. Like, when I got into high school, that stuff was done with. But I went to private school and elementary school, and our parents had to sign waivers. And I don't think the principal actually, she was a sweet old lady. I don't think she ever paddled one kid, but it was hanging on the wall, and you knew your parents had signed that waiver, and there was a good possibility you were going to get your ass whipped.
I don't know. I see it as, it's not so much it's more of like a universal thing of the way that kids are educated now. I mean, you hear about, like, you see stuff about these schools where the kids are just out of control. They just do whatever the fuck they want to do. And they have no regard at all for the people leading the class or for any of the students who are actually trying to learn. They have no regard for that at all.
Yeah.
And, as a society, maybe our children are more violent than we were. I don't know. I don't remember a whole lot of, we had fights and shit, but they were typically one-on-one.
There's a lot of variables involved.
And I didn't go to a good school either. I went to a public school that was pretty bad.
besides vaping, though.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of changes in society besides puffing leading to delinquency, in my opinion.
So
And I don't know what the answers are. I feel like I know one thing the answers aren't. Of course, nicotine could lead to being a stimulant, just like caffeine. The property crimes thing is stretching it for me, as well as propensity for violence.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, and I hope that the American public can see that.
It's
really do.
unfortunate. I know Jennifer's going to come home and tell me it's been all over her friend's Facebook. You know, because she's a mother of students that are in that junior high and high school age. A lot of her friends are post things about vaping that's totally unrelated. And one of them that posts the most misinformation about vaping allows her child to vape.
Really?
Which just blows my fucking mind. And I talked to her about it. We even took a device that was found, and she came and got it from our house, gave it back to him. And I was like, why are you letting your kid vape? You know there's nicotine in that jewel. And she was like, well, if I take it away, then he's just going to use the money I gave him and go buy another one at the store.
Yeah, that's when you whoop his ass.
Well,
That's when you whoop his ass.
Yeah, you can tell who's running that household.
Right, there has to be a consequence.
Right.
Eric, have you ever taken a hit of a vape and thought about punching somebody in the face?
All the time.
I do too.
Yeah.
All the fucking time. Like right now, I want to punch both of you in the face as hard as I can. Double punch.
Oh, see, I wanted to do that before I started vaping. Well, what's funny is, Charlie, you're talking about this woman, and what I see is her name is Pot, and she's pointing at the kettles and calling them black because
exactly right.
She knows that she shouldn't be buying her kid a Juul. So in order to make herself feel better about the fact that she's doing it, she's spreading the misinformation. And that's really what it is. Misinformation. That's such an important word about what goes on against vaping.
Right.
Is they can't use facts, so they make bullshit up. They tried to use made up facts forever. You know, the studies where they have a coil that has no cotton or liquid and they burn it at fucking 1,000 degrees or whatever the hell it was, and then they say how you can get contaminants, right? And then people started figuring out, or the people who actually did the study said, oh no, we weren't intending to say normal vaping made that happen. We were just saying in a perfect situation it could be this bad. We weren't saying that it's this bad always. And so because people were finding out that was bullshit, well, how do you disprove a lie?
Yeah. Absolutely, you can't. You know, I'm going to give you a real life example of something that happened in my household about 6 years ago. Our second youngest son, was down in the basement. I came out of my room and I could smell marijuana, and I'm like, okay. I was like, I'm not smoking marijuana. My wife's not. It's kind of, you know, where's this coming from? So I get out in the basement, and there's Leighton. He's got a pop can. And he's trying to smoke the pot. And I think he was 13 at the time, maybe 14 at the time. And the way Veronica handled it was, she looked like, do you ever see the fight between Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali, where Joe Frazier like comes across the ring, like halfway across the ring, and throws this like left hook, and it drops Ali. It's just like, it's like one of the baddest punches ever. My wife looked like Joe Frazier. Here she comes. Veronica, can you tell us what you did when you found Leighton smoking the pot in the basement?
Oh, I punched the shit out of him.
She did. She punched the shit out of him. And it was bad. I mean, I like had to leave. I went upstairs. I went upstairs and made a sandwich. It's like, I'll just leave this to her.
No joke. No joke.
It was no joke. She whooped his ass. Well, Leighton didn't smoke pot.
I got one of these.
Well, Leighton smokes pot every single day. Yeah.
What?
I said he didn't smoke pot for a while, did he?
No, he didn't.
He didn't. It stopped him. So that's what a kid needs is a punch upside.
I got to be, I was at that teenage age, just a little bit taller than my mom.
He still smokes pot, you know that.
Yeah, he still smokes
And
pot.
I told her that I was too big. She couldn't hit me anymore. I was like, you can't whip me anymore. I'm taller than you are now. So like the sentence didn't even come out of my mouth. She jumped up on the couch and decked me right in the face.
Yeah.
It's like one of the worst. The only other time she hit me that bad was with a bag of Pistolette rolls at the grocery store.
So, yeah, I remember I was 11 years old, and my mom, we were living in Wyoming at the time, and she worked as a teacher in this special program where it was like kids who were supposed to be in juvie. It was like a deferral program, and so she had to go to all this training to fight. So that's some backstory to that. So she went to some training to fight. So I was at school, and I got in a fight on the playground, and I actually broke the kid's arm. And it made me get so big-headed, thinking I was the toughest fucking guy to walk the face of the earth.
Charlie on there?
And I got home.
No regard for us at all. None.
It's okay. I got home, and my mom said, "So you think you're Mr. Tough Guy now?" And she said, "I'm giving you this one opportunity to hit a woman." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Come at me." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Come at me." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Quit being a pussy. You think you're such a tough guy? Come at me." And I was like, "What am I supposed to do?" So I went to tackle her because I wasn't going to hit her.
Right.
She grabbed me by the back of my shirt, threw me to the ground, flipped me over, put her knee, like banged her knee into my chest, gave me a couple big punches to the chest, and then said, "Who's the fucking tough guy now?" And I was just sitting there all petrified. Like, she didn't do enough to hurt me, like legit hurt me, just enough to kind of put me in shock and like, what just happened? and she was like, "I'm gonna let you up now, but just know that I'm letting you up." And I was like, okay. And like,
Damn.
I didn't get in another fight until high school, and I was 11 when this happened.
Damn. That's a good ass whooping for an 11-year-old.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, I could whoop an 11-year-old's ass. Good for him.
me too.
I could. I'm pretty confident. I'm going to say this right now. I am the world champion 11-year-old fighter. There's no 11-year-old on the face of this earth that I can't beat up. I'm going to say that right now. I don't think there is one. Do you think there is one? Could there be? Find one. Let me know. I'll fight him.
But my son is 13 and he does CrossFit, and the other day, well, he's also a football player, so in the off season he does CrossFit. Like, he's really into staying in shape, even though he's only 13. And because his mom is like a competitive weightlifter, which wasn't a thing when we were together, but and it's kind of funny because she's 4'11". Anyway, so he's like really into working out because he sees her doing it. But like 2 weeks ago, we were just play wrestling, and normally I've always not even actually tried, make him think I'm trying, but I'm not. And I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna have to start trying. Made me feel like less of a man. I'm not gonna lie. He was like flexing on. I was like, what? And then he was like, let's arm wrestle. And thank God I beat him. But I was, for a moment, I was scared. I was like, is my 13-year-old about to beat me in arm wrestling?
Yeah, that's a serious thing. Like with my son, like I think he was like 17, and I used to take martial arts and stuff. I had this like body protector thing, so I put it on. I was like, well, I'm gonna show you how to throw some punches and stuff. And I was like, all right, you ready? And I kind of like got around with him, kind of messed around, and literally he threw like 16 punches into my stomach in literally like 10 seconds. I was like, oh, you're good. Took that thing off. I was like, I don't think I want to do that anymore. Literally, I was like, holy shit, man, where'd you learn to hit like that? Pretty cool. His mother. He learned from his mom.
Part of being a parent, and you got to have that line of respect. And I think we need more of that in today's society, but I'm not going to lecture on that anymore. We've, real quick, we've got Frames Janklin out there.
Yes.
Shout out to Frames Janklin Vapor. You got anything you want to tell people about, Scott?
Absolutely. So tonight at 8 o'clock on Frames Janklin's YouTube channel, I will be in the green room with him and Angry Hippie. That is tonight at 8 o'clock. I hope everybody can make it. It's going to be a really fun show. Those guys are fun. So we're going to be on, it'll be 8 o'clock. Somebody could throw the link to his channel in the chat for me. Joey or Frank, if you could throw it in there for me. Charlie. Make sure you guys subscribe to him and join us tonight at 8 o'clock for that. Really excited to hang out with those guys. I'm a big fan of those guys, and I've been a big fan. I have the Vaping with the Omies build mat that I used to use all the time. But we do have something serious that is affecting Eric, something in your state and affecting you directly. That we wanted to cover, and so they passed a law in Washington. Was it this week? Last week?
Whoa. My weeks are all I believe it was the 21st that it was officially signed. It was passed like 10 days, 2 weeks before that.
Okay.
So it was officially signed by the governor on the 21st, I believe, which is when the governor signs it, that's the end all, because we were trying to get him to veto the floor tax portion. We knew he wouldn't veto the whole thing, but that's when he officially signed it. So you want me to go into what it is?
Yeah, if you want to,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and let's talk about it for a little bit.
So basically, it is 9 cents per milliliter of e-liquid. And so pretty simple, explanatory there. And also, it contained a floor tax, which meant that anything you had in stock as of October 1st, you had to pay the back taxes on that. So it wasn't a percentage, it was based on milliliters. And because the floor tax was based on back stock, that effectively for us here at Phoenix meant that it was a 240% tax.
Oh my God.
240%. We had been growing at a very fast rate on our online sales, so we had expanded our back stock substantially. So for us, the tax was going to be anywhere, it's an estimate because October 1st is when it would have been. It wouldn't have been today. But an estimate, we would have paid between $200,000 and $300,000 in taxes. Phoenix's lease was up August 31st. So kind of those two things coupled together with the fact that there's all these other things left up in the air, it just didn't seem viable to pay the $300,000 in back taxes.
Wow.
And get into a new lease for a couple years when we have the tax and also the fact that, there's that court case going on as in terms of the August 8th court case where that one anti-vaping advocacy group sued the FDA, and now the August 8th date might be moved up to even closer again and all that shit. So it just didn't seem viable. But what else was very scandalous about this whole thing is initially very early on, not very early on, but late March, early April, we actually had word from senators that they thought the bill was going to die. They didn't think that it would ever pass. That was the feel we got, and our lobbyists that were working with the advocacy groups here in Washington, the pro-vaping advocacy groups, they got word too. They felt like it was going to die. But then Altria and Marlboro decided to send their folks this way. So they actually got involved in writing the legislation. It changed from its original, the original way this bill was written evolved over time. So effectively what it meant is for a 100 milliliter bottle, you were having $9 in taxes, and for a pod, it would be 27 cents. This is supposed to be to fight youth vaping, which.
So once there was something,
put everybody out of business. That fights it pretty well.
Reading the bill to prepare, and I thought it was on the amended version that actually passed. In the new section, they kind of give definitions, and I could see that Altria was involved because one of the first new item is the definition of accessible container. It means a container that is intended to be opened. The term does not mean a closed cartridge or closed container that's not intended to be opened, such as a disposable e-cigarette or pod. And when I read that language, I was like, well, they're getting ready right there just to take pods out of the same mix as open vapor.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
I will say, too, there's a nationally known vape advocate who I'm very bitter with as well because he came and advocated for the tax as well. Don't know. When we asked him, he said, well, if they don't get their tax, they're going to go after flavors, and this is our strategy. Well, that tax just cost me my favorite job of all time. So
who was it?
And
Greg Connolly.
Oh yeah, I heard. I actually heard some stuff that I keep hearing that name. And he's the leader of what's the Grandpa's leader?
Oh, why can't I remember right now?
It's like the American Vaping Association or something.
Yeah, one of those.
Something like that.
So, and I didn't realize that. I thought this was lumped in with the wholesale tax that also affected hardware. But that bill is still in the works, right?
Right. Yeah. The bill that passed did not include hardware, so that's good. But I mean, for retail shops, the bread and butter. I mean, Phoenix was a little different because we did have a decent online presence, but hardware isn't where shops
Right.
survive. They survive off of e-liquid.
Right.
This is what pays the bills.
So, are they going to do? I mean, I guess the only viable solution to survive that in Washington is to have your headquarters like somewhere else, and then do online sales and say your headquarters is out of Nevada, and then ship it out of Washington.
And Charlie probably read this, so it's a little confusing, but the way I read the bill is that we'll actually have to pay taxes even if we buy it from out of state. So the person, so let's say I buy it from BlackCatWhiteface.com. You wouldn't necessarily have to pay the tax, but I would.
Really? So they're going to try to push it online as well.
So it is going to hit consumers too.
Yep. Well, and it'll hit consumer. So the floor tax, the shops are going to have to pay regardless out of their own pocket. But the ones who are staying open and our early estimates, because we put out a survey to try to send it to the governor to show him that you're going to kill a lot of small businesses. So we had different answers on the survey about whether they thought they'd close if the floor tax portion was in it. So our survey showed 65 to 90% would close with the floor tax.
Wow.
And that the ones that stayed open would be passing the tax on to the consumer anyway. So they would just upcharge the bottle and charge it to the consumer.
Right. And that's what gets me, because I'm for sensible taxation, because it does benefit us as vapers when we can say that we're contributing something to a legislator. But the floor tax is the huge problem, because if your business is thriving, it's when you get hit the hardest. And I think that these legislators kind of see everyone as big tobacco and think that it's no problem, they'll just pay it up. But vape shops that are doing good are just barely covering their overhead and their stuff.
Yeah,
exactly.
And Phoenix, it's really sad for me to see Phoenix get shut down, because the guy that owns it was trying to do everything the right way.
Yep.
And he's constantly evolved the business from what you've told us, which to me was just a sign of him evolving the business to be able to survive and do what it took. And he put up a hell of a fight.
He did. He, in the end, he actually, he likes to be behind the scenes. He's not he got on some videos for the cause, but he organized the effort to veto the floor tax, working very closely with VTA and the Pink Lung Brigade. And we had organized all this shit. Like the governor went on, our governor is running for president. And he went on Bill Mayer's show, and we had all these people like commenting, trying to get Bill Mayer to ask him a question about vaping. And we had all these little strategies. Yeah, no, he didn't. On a personal note, two different things. What was really shitty for me was I also work at a nonprofit that serves the homeless. And back in January, I switched. At that time, I was part-time at Phoenix, full-time at the nonprofit. January, I switched and reversed that. I was full-time at Phoenix and part-time at the nonprofit. So the nonprofit also almost entirely at the exact same time is going through some similar shit. The government cut a large grant we were getting. And so they were going to have to downsize from 13 people to 3 people and lay everybody else off. And they offered me one of the 3 positions, but I would have to go full-time. And it was just, I'm like, I'm not working 2 full-time jobs plus all the extracurricular shit I do. So I said, you know what, give it to somebody else. I have a safe full-time job. And 2 days later, Inslee signed the bill. And we had been given an indication where we felt pretty confident that there would be a veto of the floor tax portion. So it was kind of a surprise when he didn't veto it. And he sent us a letter that morning saying he wouldn't be vetoing it. But so then I went from having 2 jobs to no jobs in a matter of 3 days. But the YouTube channel, I'm still, Phoenix is giving it to me. They're giving me which is really cool. But they're giving me all the equipment we use to make videos.
Wow.
My last day is mid-June, but they're paying me for the month of June. They're treating me well, and I'm still trying to decide what I'm going to do, because part of me just wants to do YouTube outside of Vape YouTube too, a secondary channel that is not vape related. But yeah.
I'll tell you this, and it's time. There's so many people, and I think that I fall in this category a lot as well, that always wait for somebody else to do something. And I'm not saying this that you have to go out and join an advocacy group and do it and put tests and stay on the side of the road, even though that is helpful. But what I am saying is you got to vote these people out. And the only way they're going to listen is if you vote them out. And if you continue to vote people in, and I'm not gonna, I'm the least political person you'll ever meet. Like, I don't have a political view on things, but I'll tell you this: if you vote people in that are against small business and that want centralized control of everything, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get stuff like this happening. So you've got those are the type of people that are going to pass laws like this. They're going to push laws like this. If you're going to continue to vote the same people in every year just because you recognize their name on the ballot, this is the stuff you're going to get. Those people are bought and paid for. You can't be in a legislative body for longer than 8 years and not have somebody in your pockets giving you money.
Well,
right. You can't,
that's just the way it is.
I mean, I don't think you can run a race to be elected when it comes to a state organization, at least in the states I've been involved with, without contributions that are coming from somewhere. You can't get that seat. You can't afford to get there without contributions that you're going to owe favors for later. But and like you said, not just voting people out, but just letting them know there's a threat there to votes.
Yeah,
makes a big impact. Just the fact that someone came to their office and talked to them, and they know this may cause problems.
And
sorry, Eric, go ahead.
Well, your point is very valid, because what really hurt us is, we know there's a lot of vapors in Washington State, and the only people that would show up during the different hearings, the subcommittee hearings, was vape shop employees and vape shop owners. And they literally at one point said, where are the consumers that really care about this? Why is it just the people whose pocketbooks will be affected by it that are here? And there was some consumers, don't get me wrong, but a large majority was people who had a financial stake in vaping. And although that doesn't make them not care that doesn't mean that we don't care from a level of it helped us quit smoking. From an outsider's perspective, they're just going to see that it's going to hurt our pocketbook, not that it is something we really genuinely care about. And there wasn't even as many people there that come into just Phoenix, regardless of the whole state. But another thing that's really shady about this, I don't know if you still have the bill up, Charlie.
Yeah, I do.
Where it talks about where the money goes, there's a portion that says something about health departments of public universities.
I did notice that it basically, this bill has its own section that's kind of a bill inside of a bill for where all the money's going to go from toward tax.
Well, the guy who wrote the bill works for the University of Washington as well. That's his day job. And he works in the public, I forget the exact department name, but part of the money is going to accredited state universities, public health departments. Literally, it will go, and he has always written that. He's been trying to pass this for like 7-9 years, somewhere in there. And every time in the bill, it's been written that the money went to benefit him in some regard. And he's able to get away with it legally because it doesn't go to him directly. It goes towards the university he works for, which there could be a side deal with the university. Oh, I get a raise if I get this to happen. I don't know.
Well, you just gave me a missing piece of the puzzle, because I was reading a section of text that was stricken through and changed. And it's actually written Only the director of the department or the director's designee may authorize expenditures from the Andy Hill Cancer Research Endowment Fund match transfer account. Such authorization must be made as soon as practicable following receipt of proof required under subsection. And they modified that and changed it, but they changed it to basically refer to the new section that they added in.
And that cancer research institution is actually an institution that was started. Andy Hill is a former Washington legislator, and it was started by the state legislators. And they all wanted it funded really bad, bipartisan. They wanted it funded really bad, and now they got it. Which, I've had cancer myself, so I'm not saying cancer research isn't important, but I'm saying there's ulterior motives to why they voted yes. They put that in there for that reason.
Just going back to talk about with money and government, things like that, and one thing I wanted to touch on real quick, not to derail the conversation away from what we're talking about, but a lot of these studies and things like that, like the university study, the University of Texas, they are on grants.
Oh, yeah.
All university studies are on grants, and those grants come from the United States government or from the state government. And if you want to secure your grant, you're going to stay in the narrative. So you're not going to stray away from the narrative if they're supplying you the money. So, anything that comes out, you hear like with this University of Texas thing, or, I mean, it's amazing to me how I guess the biggest thing that's amazing to me is I never really thought the government was against public health. I really didn't. I always believed that the government was pretty much in general wanted the best for the American people as far as health goes, but they really don't care. They really don't care. It's not in their financial interest to be after public health. It really isn't. And, then that kind of ties into what's happening in Washington is they'd rather you smoked. They really would. And it's more profitable for you to smoke.
I hated to ask Eric to come here and talk about this because it personally affected his life the way that it did. I actually messaged him just because he's a friend of mine when I heard what happened, and then started thinking about it as we were talking, and I was like, this is going to happen more and more often. People need to realize how real this has gotten this coming year.
I'm filming a mini documentary kind of showing the shop before it started, liquidating, and as it started liquidating, and as more employees are getting laid off because they're downsizing staff and hours and all that as we get closer. And so I'm kind of documenting all that, and the hope is to show people the real effect.
That's a really good idea.
That's a great idea. Yeah. That really is. That will be something awesome, man.
I'm excited for it. I think it'll be hopefully impactful. And I'm kind of documenting myself at the same time, just day 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
This is how I feel.
I think that's great. I mean, in my opinion, it's as real as it gets when it comes to this and how it affects individuals' lives and small business. And unfortunately, most of these bills are a huge blow to small business and a huge leg up for big business tied in with the government.
Yeah, Big G says government want the American people to pay to stay healthy and not be healthy and not have to pay. That's exactly right. It goes with that whole philosophy. It's a treatment, not cure type thing. They don't want to cure you of anything. They want to treat you for it.
And a lot of these studies and stuff, there will be a study topic, and they have to go chase that topic to get the grant money. So it may not be, it may not even be that university director's idea to do a study on youth violence and vaping. It may be that a grant came up for someone to study youth violence and vaping, and UT said, we've got people available and space and need that money, so we're going to go after that grant, whether it's how big is the penis or how vaping affects teenage crime. So it's really a messed up system.
It is.
And those studies that are bought and paid for are what people see in the news.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to turn the page here a little bit. I'll just sum it up by saying I don't think there's any more important thing that you can possibly do but voting. and providing a voice for the, don't believe that somebody else is going to take care of it for you. Go out there and do it yourself. Take the time to learn a little bit about the issues and a little bit about the people that are going in. And it's always a good idea to churn the dirt and get rid of some of these politicians that have been camped out in there for 12, 20 years. Get them out of there and get some people in that have some different ideas and that aren't already bought and paid for by the people that don't have your best interest in mind. Because no matter what they say, they're going to do exactly what the money tells them to do. I can assure you of that. That's how politics work. All right, so we're going to move it on to a little giveaways. I got some giveaways for you guys. You guys like giveaways?
Giveaways are fun.
Giveaways are fantastic. First giveaway we're going to do now, we're going to give away a $25 gift certificate to Shy Tots e-liquid. If you have not tried Shy Tots e-liquid, I don't know what's wrong with you, because it is literally the greatest e-liquid on the face of the earth. And the number one, did you know, Eric, the number one e-liquid on the face of the earth, did you know it was cat's whiskers? It's got my logo on it.
I heard that.
I didn't know it was number one. I thought it was number 3, but
No, number
I
three.
saw it on the New York Times, and I thought it was fake news, but I'm glad you clarified that.
New York Times wanted to interview me. I told them to buzz off.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
They're not big enough for you.
No, hell no.
tell them you've been vaping and you're dangerous.
I told him. I said, look, you don't want me to hit this vape and get violent on you, sir. I will tear you up. I will tear you a new ass. Yeah. So they didn't get it. Anyway, I need a number between 1 and 150. Chat, go. Yeah, I'm sorry, Eric, man. All this is terrible, dude. It's you hear about it, but then when you actually know people that it's actually affecting, it just really brings everything home. And
It does.
I'm just, we've had some job stuff going on where I work too, so I know the feeling, the uneasiness of worrying about having a job, and it's fucking terrifying, man. It's terrifying to not.
I know.
To worry
It
about
sounds. It is, because I keep going back and forth, because I'm like, I've wanted to just start using my creative side for a long time, and now I'm getting handed all the equipment to do it, a severance package, and I don't know. It's been running through my mind, like, what if I just did YouTube shit? What if?
Right.
Yeah, I've been, it's kind of funny because I've been kind of cross-pollinating my income streams with some like eBay stuff and like trying, because you never ever really know. And Veronica does like a lot of crafts and stuff. I was like, why don't we like start a little like online store for like a lot of the crafting stuff? And I'd like to get into the international gun trade and sell as many guns as I possibly could to teenagers who vape, so that they can. I think there's a market there. I think there's a market for firearms for teenage vapors. What do you think? You think it's a good business possibility, Eric?
I know the llamas want it.
The llamas want it. Charlie said he might have to take $1 million phone call. He's doing $1 million deals.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Is
He's
he
like,
big
I might have
pimping
to take
like
a phone
that?
call. Huh?
He's big pimping like that?
He's big pimping like that.
Part of that discussion that YouTube's probably going to send the feds to this guy.
Yeah, I'm actually probably right now, my channel is probably being pulled down from YouTube. And if you're watching this, I'm 100% serious. 100%. I'm not joking at all. Completely serious. I think there's money. I think there's a really good profit margin in that. I'm going to take advantage of it. All right. As the guest, we allow the guest to give me a number, Eric, between 1 and 150, sir.
63.
63. Closest to a number without going over is going to be our winner. Let's roll through here. Rob Riggin, I see number 99. I see a 58 from Chessie. 58 is our... 66. That's 62. Vaping Smurf. Does anybody beat 62? 62. Nope. I think Smurf's got it. Congratulations, Vaping Smurf. You are the winner. You just won a $25 gift certificate to some fantastic e-liquid from Shy Tots. Make sure you try the cat's whiskers. You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love it. Congratulations, sir. How are you going to obtain that? Contact Shy Tots on Instagram. So just message Jane, G.I. Jane on Instagram. It's Shy Tots. If you have any questions, concerns, or need the link, message me on Instagram. I am BlackCat Whiteface. All right, our next giveaway is only for those that decided to repost a pic from our featured builder this week, Mr. Cool Vape. So if you reposted a picture, you can enter this. If you did not, please do not enter. I need a number between 1 and 150. Go.
So real quick, where do I buy your e-liquid?
From Shy Dots. Or you can buy some from me. It's free. If you want it from me.
With Shy Tots, it's on
send you
it.
some.
On
Want
it.
some?
I like supporting. I mean, I'll buy it.
I'll send you some.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's hook up after this. I'll definitely send you some. It's pretty good.
It's a high-end flavor.
Shy Tots is high end. It is. And it's fantastic. It's good. It's really good.
I might be making my own soon because my favorite is a Phoenix Vapor house juice, and it's going bye-bye. I bought a shit ton of them, but I think I might make my own. That's this, because what else am I going to do if this flavor is going away?
Right.
Yeah. Might have to get the recipe, man. Maybe he'll give you the recipe. You can take it. Just get you a little P.O. box like somewhere else. And just fucking put that as your company address, and just make it and send it. I wouldn't tell you to do that, but I mean,
yeah. If that's the juice you like, though, that's what I would do. Get the recipe and start mixing. Because man, that would give you more vaping budget low on hardware.
Yeah.
Or do something responsible with. I would blow it on vape hardware. So it's kind of funny, actually. Jennifer doesn't know this, but one of the numbers that I post a lot of times, she just posted the same number from work in the last giveaway. Totally random number that I just came up with.
All right. So it looks like we're... Okay. We are done. All right. Let me pull a number here. We go to random number generator. It's going to be closest to the number without going over. It's going to be our winner, guys. Random number generator. We're going between 1 and 150. 138, first number. Second number is 33. And the winner is 39. 39 is the winner. Let me log back in here and take a look.
Oh, Tracy might have.
Tracy got 32. 32. Does anybody beat 32? Tracy, I think you're a winner, hon. Tracy, you are our winner. Congratulations. You get 3 sets of coils from our featured builder of the week, Mr. Cool Vapes. Contact me. You got my Instagram. Probably be $350 for shipping. So if you just want to shoot me $350 on PayPal, if you need the address, let me know. I think I have your information, so I'll get it out and I'll have that out to you tomorrow. Congratulations, hon. Glad you won. Tracy's always in the chat, always watching. Thank you so much, hon.
So,
all right.
I missed it earlier, but Vape Ross Vape gave $2 and had a funny comment.
He did?
Yeah, he said something like, for vapes, for teen violence, or something like that.
Nick Devine just gave $2. Nick, I love you, man. I'm going to have you on Tuesday if you can next week, Nick.
So he did an advertisement for the show, and I just put in chat that we actually charged $10, not $2.
Yes, that's true. Nick, you owe me another $8, please? Or no, I'm just kidding.
$8.
So Nick will be on at 6:15. Now, let's go around the room and let's say adios to everybody and thanks for watching. We'll start out with our guest, Mr. Vaping Politician.
Yo. Thanks for thanks for having me, fellas. It was fun. You can find me at youtube.com/Phoenix Vapor. The channel will be changing names, but not URLs because that's a lot harder. It's just going to be called Phoenix Odyssey instead to kind of show that it's not a shop anymore. Because the other two guys are still going to make content on it, just not as much, even though they barely do now. Anyway, yeah, that's that. I'm going to start doing another channel where I'm going to expose scammers and sexual predators and stuff like that. It's going to be fun. So,
that will be fun.
I'm gonna approach him in person, and my son is going to expose bullies on the internets, on the Xbox.
Nice.
Yeah.
That will be good. I used to do some work with Perverted Justice, an agency that used to take care of the kitty diddlers. So that's fun to hear.
I know. I've heard of Perverted Justice. Yeah.
Damn thing is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I just threw a link up in chat for Phoenix Vapors channel.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem at all. Thank you guys for joining us. We hope you'll be here next week for the Vape Hot Tub. And thank you, Eric.
Absolutely, man. Thank you, Eric. And Eric,
Always
I'll tell you,
fun.
man, we're all rooting for you, brother. Sorry to
Thank
hear
you.
everything that happened, dude. I mean, like I said, it hits home when it's somebody that you actually know. So, you know, you're always welcome if things change or anything goes on in the state of Washington. You're always welcome here to come talk about it. If you got time, let us know. We'd be more than happy
For
to have
sure.
you back
Anything
on.
we can do for you, we're here, man.
Absolutely. So, thanks everybody for watching. It's been a fantastic week here on the Vape at 5. I've certainly enjoyed it. I hope you have too. Next week on the Vape at 5, let's check who our featured builder is next week. I believe it is Kubo. No, not Kubo. What am I saying? He was 2 weeks ago. It is, if I can find it. Here it is. Next week's feature builder is GTSC Mustang. So Monday will be a full feature of GTSC's Mustang's work. Tuesday, we will have Nick and a few other people on for a little building show. Wednesday, I'm going to be reviewing the Serpent Bottom Fill RDA, an oldie but a goodie from Watofo. So we're going to take a look at that one. I just wicked it up, and I will let you know my thoughts and everything on that Friday. We're back in the hot tub. Looking forward to that. Thanks, everybody, for joining today. Tonight, check out Frames Janklin Vapors YouTube channel. 8 o'clock tonight, Eastern Time. I will be on the show with them, myself, Mr. Angry Hippie, and Mr. Frames Janklin. We're going to have a fantastic show in the green room. So make sure you
Great
are
guys over there.
on there tonight. Subscribe to his channel and get ready for a fantastic show. Love you guys. Hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. We'll see you Monday. Vape at 5. I think Eric froze. Are you? No, we're done.
No,
You
I'm
didn't freeze?
kidding. I'm froze.
Yeah, that
You
was
didn't
good.
freeze? I thought you were froze. That froze? I'm going to open up. Did you think the international gun thing went over well? Do people like that? You don't think Veronica's like, no, that didn't go well. That was a terrible thing to say. My channel's probably getting taken down as we speak. They're probably going to take my channel down.
We might actually get to see you get swatted.
Yeah, if I get swatted, that would be fantastic.